So this is going to be a short video on how to test the contactor in your, let's say, old style transformer based HTP MIG machine. This is a MIG 140. This is a contactor. They all, newer style, they almost all exclusively look like this. You know, here you got your power in at these two wires, power out here. Yours might look a little bit different depending on the age and model of your machine. This is an older MIG 160. Here you got your power in down here, these two wires, and then power out up here. So yeah, this older 2400 has a slightly different setup. It's got a double stack contactor, and the wires you're looking for are back here in this row. And similarly down here, if you can see, it's going to be these two guys here. One thing to mention before starting this test is you should take the tension off of your wire feeder, because in order to do this testing, you're going to have the trigger engaged, and if you don't do that, you're going to be feeding wire all over the place, and it's just going to make a big mess and be a pain. So as I was saying, you're going to have the trigger engaged to do this test, and you know, if you don't, either you're going to have to pull the trigger. It's easier to do it with somebody else. If you don't have somebody else around to pull the trigger, one way you can make your life a little bit easier is here. I just imagine this is the gun. I have a little trigger wires with a on-off switch here. But even if you just have a gun, if you turn the pause time on and engage the trigger, the wire feeder will stay on until you pull the trigger again. So that'll keep the contactor engaged until we hit the trigger again. Like that. So to do this test, you're going to need your multimeter, and you're going to set it to AC volts. AC volts is the V with the little squiggly line over it if it doesn't say AC. I'll also say AC up in the corner of the display typically. On this machine, the top are going to be your volts in, and then your bottom is going to be your output. So without the trigger engaged, you should have some voltage measurement here. On this it'll be 120 because it's a 110 only machine. On 160, a 200, or a 2400, you should get 240. And since the contactor is not engaged, you'll get nothing on the other side. Now if you engage the trigger, if your contactor is working correctly, you should now have 120, so the same on both sides. If you have your contactor engaged and you have nothing here, that means quite possibly, or not possibly, but that you have a bad